Hello guys, we're gonna start in here in just a minute. Just gonna share this link here. Alright. Hi DPS, how you doing? I'm doing good. We're finally got things moving in. Was definitely busy. Definitely a lot of stuff, but I'm happy to say that the internet is pretty much the same quality as the last place. The only trick though is that I was unable to use my Ethernet cord because the outlet at the room at where I'm at right now is a different build. It's built for the smaller version of it. So I'm gonna have to get a different cord or something. But outside of that, the internet is doing well right now. But yeah, just gonna do some match requests today just to kind of make sure the internet goes smoothly, but it should based on what the test gave for that stuff. It's the same as it was in the other one. Let's see. Gonna go down, let's see the list here for requests. Star Fox thing. He asked about The Rock and Roman Reigns, so we'll use that to kick things off. No, do that one second. That one second. Okay. All right. The one after the Texas. Okay, that is fair. That is fair. Let's see. What did you ask about? American Wolves and Motor City Machine Guns. That was the first one you asked about. That one was TNA one right there. Let's see. And we'll just have. It's been a while since we saw Mr. Stunner. We'll keep these on. We'll keep these unlimited. Although, actually, you know what? Maybe we should have a. We should have a loose time. We'll just keep everything at a loose time limit. As for music, hey B Slayer, how you doing? I should get like just default like default promotion tracks. Let's just chill out to some Razor Ramon music. Yeah, doing good. Myself just got finished. And we still got some stuff to put away, but moving's pretty much kind of settled down. Also, got some Saturday Night Slam Master, guys. We'll probably do a tournament for that. Stream for that at some point. Yeah, I actually got not only the 10 original ones, but I also got the new guys that were in 2 and 3 as well. So I pretty much have the full imagined roster of that series. I also got NES Pro Wrestling, but I haven't done a tournament on that one yet, but I should. Alright, looks like we got ourselves settled here. We'll do this to open things up here, some tag action. I have some requests from the Discord here, but if people chime in other requests over the course of this stream, I'll throw them in as well. Yeah, that is a very big thing. Like pretty much everyone I've heard said that they consider him probably like the toughest wrestler ever. Just like in sheer terms of just like reality and everything. Just like in real life and in the ring, like he's legit the toughest. Yeah, definitely. Fight! American Wolves versus Motor City Machine Guns. A big headbutt there. Give up. Yeah. Yeah, talk about, but that's the thing too. I don't know how, in terms of his promo talking ability, I don't know how like polished it was, but he was definitely a guy that I think probably could have been more higher up in the belts and stuff than he ended up being, unfortunately. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he was his big thing was during a time where there was the NWO going around, and it's kind of weird. Like the NWO, like when people say they got too big, I fully agree. That's kind of thing. I think what really made them so intimidating when they first came was the fact that you don't know who could be the next member. Like that level of paranoia with a new group coming in, the mystery and everything, I think that's what gave the group so much strength early on, is that you didn't know who's going to join in. And I think if they kind of ran with that, as opposed to like just throwing in everybody until like literally half the roster is NWO affiliated, I feel like they would have been better off if they just kind of really slowed it down a little bit and really kind of played with the audience and the other wrestlers in kayfabe, like you don't know who's going to be next. It could be the person sitting next to you or something like that. I just think that would have really added to like the fear of the group, as opposed to what we got, which eventually it just got so overexposed that it ended up killing the promotion a little bit. I mean, there were other factors, of course, but I think the fact that they had such a great undercard and they were unable or even unwilling to take advantage of it, I think led to their downfall. Which, and that's the thing, like Attitude Era WF, they had a great undercard like WCW, but the difference between the two was that with WWF they were more than happy to give the lower mid card stuff to do in you know, spotlight and whatever, while WCW they didn't really want that necessarily, even though you could also argue in terms of sheer wrestling talent, you could argue WCW had the advantage for their lower mid card than WWF. Because WWF Attitude Era, that was definitely the era of hardcore for them. Because in terms of technical matches, I can see the argument that the new generation era had more technical sound matches than the Attitude Era. Yeah, DX was different because DX was never, their thing was never like, you don't know who's going to be a DX member, because they were, you see, NWO was definitely more of like a hardcore street gang vibe to them, while DX was definitely more of like a group of high school young adult like punk skateboarding gang that vandalized and stuff, but never went to like, it never, DX never felt like they were gonna be like a huge like painkiller kind of thing, because NWO was always a heel group. No matter how much the audience loved NWO, they were always heels. While DX was more on the tweener side. I mean, they played with babyface and heel throughout their existence, but they were always like, they could go either way. Another total elimination right there. Because I always think that, that move's called the cattle mutilation. I believe that's what's called. But yeah, I always, when people, I get a lot of questions sometimes, who do you think is better, like DX or NWO? And I think it's tough to, and it's always tough with that question, because they were so similar, but yet they were so different. And another thing I just thought of now, really, with the big difference, is that I think the biggest reason why they never really went too crazy with the roster in DX was because DX always, because there was a lot of other stables and stuff going on with the other wrestlers at that time. Like everyone was divided up more evenly. Everyone had their own little group or own little thing going on. While in WCW, I mean, there wasn't really that necessarily. It was very NWO driven. But yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, DPS. There's a lot of underrated wrestlers. I mean, that's why I love right now, like, that there's so many promotions, because I feel like more wrestlers get showcased with more promotions than if they're all in one, because there's only so much time in a day for wrestling, so having it in different promotions, I feel like, gives it a little bit more definitely more focus and time for a lot of wrestlers. Yeah, DX got strong too, but it'd be a different. What would made them more like NWO is if every week they tease getting a new member and someone new joins. It's like DX would have been exactly like NWL if they literally got half the roster to become a member of DX. That would have made the big difference there. Yeah, exactly. That's why I like that. That's one of the beauties of like having like internet in like everything, you know, being on YouTube and stuff, because the audience can find it easier. Like stuff like the NWA, Major League Wrestling, even TNA in the Japanese wrestling promotions. Really, any promotion that isn't WWE and AEW. Like, they benefit hugely from stuff like YouTube and Fight TV, because it gives them a chance to, like, show off all these wrestlers and stuff.
Give up? Give up?
Yeah. Yeah, despite possibly missing on the Wolfpack, I think they would have been better off if... Well, first of all, they could have kept... You could argue they could have kept NWO around to a degree after Starrcade 97, but... To be honest, they tried to get too fancy with it. They were better off just having Sting and Hogan just have a good, clean, solid match. No fuckery or anything. Just have it just be a good, well-executed match. If they did that, they would have been way better off. Instead of trying to pull all this different, like, trickery and try to get Hart involved in the finish and whatever. I think that's my opinion. Because the NWO, and that's the other thing too, is that WCW, for all their arguing that NWO was bad, they never really did a good job of putting up a united front against them. Like, they didn't come up with their own little team or anything. I mean, they had loose alliances, like Giant and Lex Luthor, Sting, really Giant, Lex Luthor, Sting, and DDP. Those were kind of like the big four for going against them. But they never really gave them a clear united thing. What I think they should have done, because I think WCW kind of signed their future death warrant the moment they signed Hogan, in my opinion. Oh, we got a tap out here. It looks like we got finally we got a winner. That went 20 minutes. That was a good match. A lot of back and forth and stuff. Like, because of the way Hogan did his deals and stuff. In a show in the future, ready to rumble. That'd be funny. But yeah, I mean, because if they didn't sign Hogan, what they could have done is, instead of having like Hogan betray WCW, they could have had Randy Savage betray WCW. And while that could have been a bit more predictable, because Savage played babyface and heel pretty evenly, he still would have been a great leader, a great NWO figurehead. He would have still had his feud with DDP, and they could still do the same basic like storylines that they were doing with it normally, only just having it with Savage as the lead as opposed to Hogan. And I think they could have been better off, because Hogan's politic really ruined things a little bit. Having like Savage, because Savage was more than willing to let himself was more than willing to put over other names in the company to advance the story and whatever, while Hogan was much more pickier on that. Alright, second one here. Jimmy King. Yeah. I wonder if there is a model. I'll have to look at some point, but yeah, we'll do we're gonna do Rock and Reigns here. Just gonna let everything, we're just gonna keep cruising to that Razor Ramon background music. Let's see, but yeah, I think that in hindsight, I think they would have been better off not picking up Hogan to begin with. I mean, because where else is he going to work, though? Because he wasn't going to go back to WWF. I mean, he could have probably tried being in another promotion or something, or started his own thing. But here's the thing. I'm surprised he got as good a deal as he did, because in all actuality, if he was done with WWF, WCW was like the winning bid company. Like, who else would he have joined at the time? It was kind of their field. They could have easily got him on a much more, company friendly contract. And if they didn't get him, then so be it, you know? I guess, see, I gotta update that model there. Probably added something extra. Yeah, that's kind of a shame he didn't. Well, yeah, I remember actually he didn't want to work with Jake because they tried testing their potential rivalry at like house shows, and instead of cheering for Hogan, they cheered for Roberts, and they cheered DDT, and he didn't want to be a part of that. So I gotta work on my newer WWE rosters. They're a little bit on the small side. Alright, let's see how this one goes here. And the thing is, I like Hogan in the... I don't hate Hogan in terms of, like, kayfabe in-ring. And the thing is, I get him wanting to, like, have tight control of his character because, in this defense, it is probably one of the most important wrestling characters of all time, really, because that character single-handedly made wrestling popular. I mean, you could argue that Vince McMahon helped do that too, but at the end of the day, Hogan really did it. So I understand him being protective of that character, but I felt like once he got to WCW, it went way too out of control. Way too out of control because he was a heel, and I understand doing cheap things to keep the belt, but there was times where I feel like he almost held on to the belt a bit too much and too long. Because you had stuff like the Luger thing. When Luger won the belt, that was such a huge moment. And then in the pay-per-view, he immediately loses it, you know? It's one of those things where I feel like if you're gonna have... I feel like if you wanted, like, there to feel like a true competition between WCW and NWO, you need a lot more back and forth. And Hall and Nash, to their credit, were more willing to do that than Hogan was. Like, because the Steiners were tag champs for a bit. You know, there was other things going on. I just think that overall they would have been better off if they just, one, didn't sign Hogan, and two, made the competition between WCW and NWO a lot more even. But yeah, but still, even despite all that, that early NWO run, like that was cool. That always is gonna be memorable. Especially man, I remember watching when they first But yeah, Andre, I love Andre. To me, Andre is one of those wrestlers where I feel like no matter what era he would wrestle in, I feel like he would have just been... He would have worked great with it. I don't know how well he would have done in the Attitude Era, to be honest, but I think... I don't know, he just... It's a shame he couldn't really go beyond the Golden Era, but man, I remember watching, like, stuff, like, the promos of, like, Hogan and Andre when Andre was turning heel, and he was, you know, before WrestleMania 3, and man, he doesn't get enough credit for his promo stuff, because I feel like at the time they were afraid like the audience wouldn't quite follow Andre because he had a very thick accent, but man, he knew how to deliver the right facial stuff, and you don't see, and it's unfortunate because a lot of wrestlers, there's a trick with promos in that sometimes less is more. Sometimes you just need to do a little bit. And that's kind of... And a lot of that is just natural. Like, letting wrestlers just mix themselves in with the characters they establish is the best way to do it. Nowadays, there's too much control about, like, a wrestler being someone or something. Oh, we got rock bottom there. Like, imagine how much better off the rosters in WWE right now would be if they... Oh, he's getting ready for a spear.
1, 2.
Like, imagine how much better off the WWE roster would be if they allowed the wrestlers... Yeah, Battle of the Cousins, exactly. But yeah, allowed the wrestlers to just be more them. Oh, here's a shit shooter. The Rock sharpshooter, always done awfully.
Give up.
But that might change now that I've heard news that they put Triple H back in charge of WWE creative overall with McMahon gone. And I think that's a smart decision because the NXT brand they had when Triple H was running it was their most consistent in quality. And putting him in charge of the overall thing is going to be great. Oh, there's Ken Shamrock interfering.
Break.
Oh, wow! Roman Reigns just critical The Rock with a power bomb. He's got a 90 there. Let's see. Yeah, WCW, I mean, they almost gave their wrestlers a bit too much control because the bigger names, like, they were literally allowed to do literally whatever they want. Like, for example, like, going back to Savage and DDP, Savage could have easily said, like, because they asked, for this first match in DDP, they literally asked him what he wanted the finish to be. He easily could have said, I wanted to drop the elbow to win. He could have easily said it, but the fact that he he gave that first one to DDP made a huge difference, because it made DDP look like $1,000,000. It established Savage as like a credible like nemesis for DDP. One of the best, and it established one of the best rivalries ever. And it's a rivalry that didn't tie into any belt or anything. It was just a pure good rivalry, and it to me, in all honesty, it's probably the most successful NWO WCW singles rivalry that they did. I mean, because think about it, the Hogan Sting rivalry. It was only good before the match. Like, they never had actual good matches between Sting and Hogan. It was only in the build-up where it was good. If they would have had good matches between the two, man, and it kind of sucks too, because Hogan as a heel I always liked him more as a heel at that time, but after rewatching, Reliving the War, you kind of realize that they kind of kept Hogan like kind of out of the action a little bit. It would have been kind of nice to see him maybe be more heelish a little bit and stuff. And he was a great heel in terms of like keeping the belt to himself, never giving anyone a chance with it. But next one here, Mr. Perfect against Roddy Piper. I just think it would have been cool to kind of, but yeah, you're right, B-Slayer. Vince was very into it. I mean, for sure. And that's what made a huge difference, because Bischoff, that led everything, he was good too. But the biggest difference between him and Bischoff is that Bischoff allowed the wrestlers in WCW, the big ones, to kind of run away with it a little bit. I mean, you weren't going to do that with McMahon. The WF, that's McMahon's world, and either you love it or you hate it. But that's his world. He has the final say in how everything goes. And that works for better or for worse. But at the very least, in that era, it worked very well because if you have a card where literally no one wants to get out of their seat because everyone is invested in all parts of the card with all the wrestlers, then you've done your job well. Like, if you can get it to a point where nobody wants to, like I said, nobody wants to leave their seat because they don't want to miss the opening match with Snow and Venus, or the middle with Test and Shamrock, or the main event, or anything like that. If you can get it to that point, then you're making bank. Like, and they only were successful at that because they allowed the wrestlers to do their thing and gave them support in that. If they did it like they did today, they would have got swamped. Where did I put on Mr. Perfect? Did I have him in here? Or is he in the WCW thing? Yeah, he's in the WC... Or did I put him here? Yeah, sure, that's no problem, Beast Slayer. Alright, he's probably in here. Yeah, not quite Mr. Perfect, but Kurt Hennig's close enough. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think WCW, if DPS not a fan of Piper and Kurt Hennig action here. Absolutely perfect. Yeah. I thought I had a Mr. Perfect model, but I just have the NWO version of him, so I'm gonna have to roll with that. I will say though, I understand why some people would prefer WCW overall though to WWF, because WCW definitely presented itself as more like a sport, as opposed to WWF, where it was definitely more of a story. I get you, DPS. I think WCW, I think their biggest mistake was signing Hogan. I mean, it all stemmed from that, to be honest. Like, to me, they would have been better off if they just didn't, or at the very least, thanks, Beast Slayer. At the very least, if they were going to sign him, they should have tried to get him down and try to establish more control with him. Because the thing is, they already had a stacked roster. They got Savage, Flair, Sting, and all these other guys, even before they went to the NWO era. I mean, they could have done that whole era without Hogan, to be honest, and they would have been better off. Even if everything went exactly the same, except for like some whatever difference you have to do that revolved Hogan with other wrestlers, of course. But if you changing that would have made a huge difference. I mean, I don't know if the twist would have been as good, but I think in terms of overall storytelling, I think because Savage would have played ball, he would have been fine with putting Sting over without much of a fuss. Because I don't know, I just think that as much fun it is Hogan with NWO, and as much that heel turn of his did so much, I feel like WCW, I think their biggest mistake, I mean, you know, signing Hogan, but also just that even is the fact that they let so much control out of their hands. I think if they establish a more firm grip on what happened in stories and stuff, I think they would have been better off. Like, WWF was the perfect... Real talk tonight in wrestling, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think... And that's the thing, the Attitude Era got it perfect. They had that perfect balance because the wrestlers were allowed to be themselves and allowed to kind of do their promos and stuff, but at the same time, Vince had the control. It was Vince's established world. And that perfect balance led to huge success. WCW didn't have that balance. They were out of whack. Yeah, you do have to build talent. And that's the sad part. WCW had it. You know, they had those guys. They had, oh my god, freaking Jericho. If they ran with him, that could have changed so much. Oh, look at Mr. Perfect here stealing his finisher. Some jabs. Yeah, although in Bischoff's defense in certain areas, like I think another thing that really messed them up too was when they tried to do Thunder, which Bischoff did not want to do. He said himself that doing Thunder was a huge mistake, and he didn't agree with doing it. He was forced to by like the higher ups to do another wrestling show, and yeah. I agree. I think if you were gonna do a Thunder show along that era, oh my god, he just criticaled Piper with the heading plex. But yeah, I think overall, yeah, not the best match, but you know, wins the winning for Henning. Yeah, but I have to say though, like, if you're gonna have anyone back up your wrestling show and promotion, Ted Turner would have been the guy for it, because he was perfect, because he wasn't hands-on, he wasn't trying to throw in anything extra. He was more than happy to give as much money as he could to it. I mean, if you're going to do anything with that, he would have been the perfect guy for it. And he legit loved the thing. I mean, the only limitation they had to work against is the fact that he didn't want anything getting too bloody or anything too aggressive, anything too beyond PG. That was really the only thing. Alright, let's do, next one is gonna be Glacier and Mortis here. Get some WCW action here. But yeah, I think it would have been cool to see for WCW. I think it would have been very interesting to see if they could have survived. I think if they did, I think they would have just ended up being like TNA, in that they would have just been, you know, kind of lower on the ground kind of thing. Blood runs cold, exactly. Yeah. Let's see, Alright, let's see. Is it Glacier Mortis? Alright, let's see how this one goes. Yeah, this is going to definitely be interesting here. But yeah, definitely. And that's another thing too, like, man, and speaking of like how Hogan ruins things, Man, that he really dragged down TNA. I've been trying to get into TNA more recently, and man, they could have had something if Hogan didn't get in. I mean, they're still around and kicking, of course, but man, they had, for a brief spell, like in the mid to late 2000s, for like a 4 or 5 year span, you really thought they were gonna do it. Like, they would not overtake WWE, but definitely get to that WCW level where they were the solid, like, number 2. But, because they had veterans, they had the rising class, they didn't have that balancing issue until Hogan came, in terms of balancing between veterans and the new guys. Yeah, Steiner and TNA, yeah. I think I actually liked Sting a lot in TNA. I especially loved him. I didn't watch full videos. Yeah, I was kind of aiming for like that in the WCW NWO World Tour. This was like the WCW ring. But yeah, that's the thing. WCW had so many like undercard wrestlers that were so good, and they just didn't like. First of all, like I said, NWO. I think I didn't mind that it got big. It just went big too fast. I think if they played it a little bit over time and let it get big over time, I think that would have been better off. I read something interesting a long time ago about how someone would have booked it. Even if they didn't, even if nothing was really changed. Oh, here comes Sinister Minister here. Basically, like NWO successfully took over. Like they you know, pretty much everyone, like there's very few if any WCW guys left, and the way they would have booked it is have those guys strategize together and become the reverse NWO, where they started adapting their old tactics and you know, fucking with them until they finally like got the belts and got and like started having them do more infighting, and then you could have got the Wolf Pack out of that, and then you would eventually saw the fall of them through just kind of like the minority guys taking the power back by kind of, you know, pulling their own tricks, you know, and that would have worked, but again, it's just one of those things where in hindsight things would have been better, but yeah, Mortis here, Canyon, man, talk about another guy that could have been so much bigger if he was just given the support. Like WCW, they had the right idea about like trying to make him his own guy, but when he got to WWF, they completely fucked him over.
6, 7, 8, 10 minutes ago. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
1.
But yeah, like, and that's the other thing too. Now Bischoff, as kind of like their manager's group, I thought was great. He had a lot of great heel moments, but I think having DiBiase as that guy was a missed opportunity, because it would have made so much sense having him in that role. And look at that, Mortis got the win there. Alright, ooh, we got a good, interesting one here. The Gun Club versus the New Age Outlaws. Yeah, oh man, Road Dogg. Talk about a guy who could talk. See how this one goes. Are they in Major League Wrestling now, or are they still in AEW? Because last I checked, they were in AEW, but I know that AEW is very friendly on letting... It's weird, like, all these other promotions outside of WWE are super comfortable with having their belts and other wrestlers work with other promotions pretty freely. It's crazy to think about that, because imagine if WWE did that. Imagine if they're perfectly fine having Roman Reigns go to like TNA and just, you know, whatever, you know, it'd be crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
But yeah, Attitude Era had so many great tag teams. I think why the tag team division there was so strong was that the wrestlers stood... Yeah, I saw the guns. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool that they're working in Major League Wrestling. Yeah, I didn't know that, but that's cool that they are.
2, 3, 4, 5.
But yeah, Attitude Era tag teams, I think they just did so well because the wrestlers in the teams stood out individually as strong as together. Like, for example, like Edge and Christian. Pump Handle Slam. Like Edge and Christian, for example, like they're great as a tag team, but they could function as solo guys as well. Or a big strong example, APA, like they're great as a team, but Simmons and JBL, they could work together as singles just as strongly as together. Even the New Age Outlaws, like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, they stand out individually as well as together. I think sometimes tag teams, sometimes when they get too like uniform together, I think it becomes a little hard for them to like stand out overall as a strong unit. because even the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, even though they were very uniform together, both of them stood out enough individually to a certain extent, like with the makeup or like their move sets and really overallness of it. And the Dudley Boys is another great example of that as well. I mean, yeah, so many strong, the Hardy Boys, so many strong tag teams in that era. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I can see that with my, I'll look at it through my phone. I don't know why YouTube's weird with that. Let me,
1, 2.
I wonder how I can do it. Oh man, how do I... Okay, yeah. It's so weird. I tried looking through the settings for the chat through my phone, and I'm not...
10 minutes gone.
Okay, I think I fixed it. I'm not sure, but I don't know, YouTube's weird with that stuff. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, I have the channel rated for 18 and up for adults, you know, so you'd think that YouTube would be fine with, like, you know, like, and I could say ass and damn and fuck or whatever. Oh, look at that, shake, rattle, and roll from Road Dogg there. I mean, I could say that, and it's not like YouTube blurps it out or something like that. I mean, if they did that, I would at least, like, respect it. But here's the thing, like I said, it's like 18 and up. There shouldn't be an issue. We're like, everyone's an adult who watches these videos, or can at least, unless they cheat or something. So there really shouldn't be an issue with the language thing, with the obvious exception being like hate speech or something. But even then, it's like Wedding Crashers. Yeah, but Billy Gunn, I mean, you know, it's weird with Billy Gunn. I always felt like when he was just kind of chatting or talking casually with fans or stuff, I always felt like he appeared stronger doing that than any other gimmick like he ever had as a singles guy. Because I have to say, there's just some wrestlers where the gimmicks they're given or something doesn't showcase how flowful they are in a normal conversation. Like, cause Billy Gunn, like some of the like his best gimmick, oh, the Famouser, the best gimmick he ever had was just badass Billy Gunn. Like the Mr. Ass thing was kind of like an add-on to that, just a lot more cheesier. They could, but man, I think throughout like promotions and stuff, I think they just struggled like realizing that Billy Gunn's biggest like thing as a talker was just being himself. I think if they incorporated that, the one Billy Gunn did. Yeah, I know, it's another Famouser. Oh, he just criticaled his own. And it looks like X-Pac in his NWO gear helping out there. It's a 2-on-1. Oh, it's technically 3-on-1 handicap match now. Yeah, with tag matches, if a wrestler gets critical, it becomes a 2-on-1 handicap. The Famouser, yeah. I like the finisher too because it's kind of like the scissors kick, only a lot more emphasis on the thigh, just really landing on somebody. It's kind of like a curb stomp variation, only with the thigh instead of the foot.
12, 13.
It has a good cadence to it too, and it's one of those finishers you could hit really anywhere, and it works. I especially see this with a lot of finishers nowadays, especially in WWE, where they try doing this weird, elaborate finishers that just look kind of clunky and messy. And I don't know. I mean, I understand. For example, like, I know a DDT is used to death, but if you could do a beautiful, normal DDT, I could buy that as more of a finisher than something overly complex. You know? Sometimes you just need well executed. Sometimes it's weird, like, despite how often, like, a super kick or a power slam is used, like, there's just certain moves that no matter how often they get used, like, you could still buy as a finisher. I don't know, that's weird. I think... Oh, look at that. You get the win. Yeah, I always love just a good old DDT, you know? Just a good old-fashioned DDT. Yeah, I fixed it. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it's permanent if I have to do it for every stream. That was a good match. That one was requested by LJC. Let's see, next one here. Haku versus Hercules, Danhausen versus the World. Man, I wish I downloaded Danhausen. I don't have him, but I should get him. When I did my AEW, it was like a couple years ago, so the roster for that is a little different than it would be now. Like, not... I gotta get some more current AEW guys for that. But, what was... Hold on, let me look at that chat again. Because I know you wanted that Haku Hercules turn into a triple threat, but I need to look back and see which guy... Yeah, if he's available, I'll download him for sure. If he's not, I'll have to make him, but I'll have to do some research, because I'm not quite sure... Oh, Al Snow, that's who it was. Okay, we can do that. Let's see. Ooh, man. I have Taz and Angle. I wish I had Hook. I don't know if I have Jason Jordan. I don't think I do. That would... I always, you know, Taz and Angle talk about a rivalry that should have got off the ground but never did. You think after that Royal Rumble match, you think they would have kickstarted that into a rivalry, but they didn't. I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that no one should have Jason Jordan. You know, I'm not familiar with his work as a wrestler, but based on, like, my little knowledge of him, I assume that he probably didn't get much of a chance. We'll do the Attitude Era for this one. Yeah, you know what? The world's greatest... You know, I hear Shelton Benjamin name a lot with the greatest tag team when associated with Angle, but I don't hear about Charlie Haas a lot. You know, I wonder what happened with him. Meth. Oh, that would do it. That would certainly do it. Oof. That's unfortunate. Cause from what I heard, he's still wrestling. Well, I mean, at least he's still wrestling. But I guess due to circumstances, he wasn't quite as tailored for the popularity as Shelton Benjamin was. Yeah, it's a shame. I liked his finisher, the Haas of Pain. I think that was a cool original submission finishing move. Well, that's cool that it was an Impact. Let's see, where did I put... Can't believe I didn't... think I might have to go here. Just doesn't look right. Yeah, that could be a thing too. Sometimes with wrestlers, sometimes they get so focused on the ring work that they kind of stop caring about... Yeah, and that's the thing too. Sometimes wrestlers get so focused on the ring work, they kind of lacks a lot on how they look overall for that kind of stuff. And I could buy that for guys who are super like wrestler focused. Like a guy like Dean Malenko, for example, I could see him just being super wrestling focused and not caring if he looks like $1,000,000 or looks like he just came off the street from a box, you know. But as long as he's doing well with everything, that's great. I mean, I hope he's not doing meth. That'd be sad if he was. Meth is a very scary drug. Let's get some Bret Hart music in this. Alright, Snow, Hercules, Haku. And a triple threat. Let's see how this one goes. Mr. Red Shoes can ref, that's fine. Oh, so far this is going really well. I think it's safe to say that the streaming schedule can be resumed. So the next stream I plan on doing is gonna be Thursday. Gonna be away for a couple days, but for Thursday I hope to be doing some the next round of TWN. So I know LJC has his booking set. I forgot if you and yeah, exactly, this the Bret Hart theme, it always gets stuck in my head, like no matter, like it just does. It's so, man, wrestling themes, they used to like, and that's the thing, you might like some themes more than others or whatever, like some are better than others, that's for sure, but I mean, I feel like nowadays some of the themes just feel a bit too like, especially with WWE, they really dropped the ball on their themes for their guys. AEW is definitely much better with the theme music, in my opinion. I know I remember LGC in the Discord really unloading on AEW, and I don't watch AEW religiously. I just kind of keep up with them like WWE. And it seems like for the most part they seem to make the right choices, but it does seem like lately they're starting to like kind of lose a little bit of the steam here from all the injuries, and yeah, signing a lot of older guys I think kind of rubs some people the wrong way. but yeah, like, and we'll be getting, and but yeah, TWN stuff. We're gonna be beginning the 9th round for divisional play, so we're getting really close to the conclusion of the season. Oh, he just criticaled. Yeah, it was weird with NWA. I remember, like, during the pandemic, I watched the first 2 NWA Power episodes ever, and then they took, and then around that time, oh wow, only 55, wow. Yeah, freaking Haku is not to be trifled with. He just freaking knocked out Hercules. But yeah, I watched those 2, and then that was the time they took everything down and they revamped stuff, and then they started adding episodes again. And I'm in the middle of watching the newest episode. I thought about starting from the playlist up, but to be honest, with wrestling, you could literally start watching it. That's like kind of the beauty of wrestling. You could literally start watching it at any time, and it'd be the exact same if you just watched it from day one. Because wrestling within promotions, there's always an ongoing storyline. There's always wrestlers coming and going. It's like a constant thing. So you could start from the pilot episode. You could start in episode 30. And yeah, you might have missed some stuff, but no matter where you start, there's going to be stuff that you missed, you know? So it's one of those things where you shouldn't, and plus there was so much of those episodes, because when they started uploading like episodes again on YouTube, they were already at season 7. So even if I started like right when they upload, I still would have missed like, I guess, 6-ish seasons or however they did it. So there's really no point in, like, unless if you want to like see like matches of people and stuff, that's different. Jacob Fatu, man, what was that? Sounds so familiar, but I can't think of like who I know him from. All right, let's do next is Nasty Boys versus the Orient Express. Yeah, you know, I want to get into Major League Wrestling. I just haven't had a chance yet. What I really need to get is Fight TV. That's where all the action is. I just don't have the money right now, unfortunately, to get into it. But I would love to like watch NWA and them long term. I mean, like I said, I thought about doing that with AEW, but they don't really have a dedicated app or anything for their stuff. I have Peacock, so I'm able to watch WWE stuff whenever. Just 90% of the time, it's the old stuff. YouTube, you know, I thought they did the same format as NWA does, so I might start doing that as well. To be honest, like just starting from the newest episode of their stuff and just go from there. That's really the best way to do it for that kind of stuff, in all honesty, because because if they've been going on for a while, that's a lot of backlog to like go through. And with wrestling, it's not. I mean, it can be worth it if you really have the time and are dedicated to it. But if there's that much to get through, you know, you're almost better off just starting from day one. And then if you need to like go back onto something, you could, or something like that. Let's see. But yeah, NWA, MLW, I think those I feel like if you want wrestling as more of a pure sport as opposed to the theatricalness of it, I don't mind theatricality myself with wrestling, but there's definitely a balance to it. Some promotions get way too overboard with it. Alright, let's see how this goes here. This should be interesting. And we're still, well, WWF or WCW? They were, yeah, we'll do WWF. We'll do, we'll do that. Yeah, I think I also have to go. Yeah, I like the idea of a territory system because I feel like it does a better job of like promoting like a lot of wrestlers on an equal playing field. Because I mean, NWA they ended up having to ditch that territorial idea because there weren't any really promotions left that fall under that. That's why they switched to a traditional promotion. It actually saved them, in all honesty, because it allowed them to kind of restart themselves from the ground up and be able to focus more on a specific thing as opposed to like managing all these different things. But I think I like the idea. That's kind of why that's kind of what influenced the TWN is that kind of territory system. I mean, nowadays, outside of the WWE, pretty much all the promotions operate like a territory by allowing their wrestlers and their belts being defended and awarded to wrestlers from other promotions or whatever. I mean, it's kind of crazy that they're just kind of doing that on their own without really any oversight, and it works out fine. I think a lot of promotions are realizing with how the media is now, all they need is to like work together and they can get their name across everywhere without a lot of like financial like effort. And that's kind of what the WWE I think is realizing, and I think that's why tying that in along with the Vince McMahon thing, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. I hope with Triple H in charge, I hope to see. I don't necessarily think they're going to go straight back. Yeah, it would be kind of cool to see a return of that, because that was kind of the main thing for many decades. But I think it could work now. It would be for a different way, but territories could work now if all these smaller promotions like unified under an overarching one, kind of like what the NWA used to be. I think the only real difference to it would be that the promotion, I don't think there would be as many skin-tight rules with it. I think it would be a lot more loose and flexible, because back then when they did it, they worried about stuff like kayfabe and all that, and that's not really something they have to worry about anymore. That's kind of been out the door for a long time, so it'd be a lot easier to manage as opposed to was back in the day.
Give up. Give up.
I also kind of think that I think if you're gonna have like territory wrestling today, really the only negative to it really would be the fact that like all the belts you have, you would have to kind of, because if you do the territory wrestling but you have an overarching like organizational belt like what the NWA used to be, then you would kind of have to admit that that belt is more important than your own belt. And I don't know if every promotion would be okay with that. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like these promotions, and it's easy to forget because we're used to like we grew up with wrestling, like promotions like the WWE traveling around, but most promotions, a good chunk of them, they do a good chunk of their shows in a local area, they don't really travel around all that much. Yeah, I think, and that's the thing too. Like, if you combine the some of the territory strategies with media, you could like develop a really powerful wrestling thing very quickly, you know. And you could like, and the thing is, I remember them doing that in the past. Like, I remember WCCW, Midwest Wrestling, and all those guys, in AWA, and all those guys trying to form a conglomerate promotion to fight WWF, and it failed because they couldn't get the wrestlers and the promotion, like the promoting of their thing right. But nowadays you wouldn't have that issue. And it also makes it easier because so many people are tired of new school WWE. But you could also argue their window for that is slipping though, because with McMahon gone and Triple H taking over the creativity, I mean, you could easily see them switch gears and become a lot more adult oriented. They already said they were going to go TV-14. Yeah, like
Give up.
yeah, exactly. Like, WWE would definitely have to. Like the era of PG wrestling has been dead for a long time, and it is definitely time to see. Because if you're having a TV-14 rating, and you still have like kids going to the wrestling shows with their families, like what AEW has been doing for years now, then you kind of have to realize that you probably could get away with being a little bit more adult-oriented. And I think that's what WWE's realizing right now, is that they can afford to do that. And they should. Yeah, I already heard that recently they were... I heard recently that Tony Khan and like the new higher-ups at WWE, they were kind of open to that idea of like sharing wrestlers for shows and stuff. Because they both know it'll make them a gajillion dollars doing that. And I think they should. Why not? You know, that's a problem with WWE in recent years, is that they've been too far up their own ass. You know, like not working with other promotions, trying to do these weird terms and phrases, like not calling crowds fans, calling them the universe. And the way they've been doing, just a lot, the big and little things they've been doing is very like pretentious. And it's just like, I think with the change of so many things, I think you're gonna see a good shift in stuff becoming more like I can see things being like an Attitude Era 2.0, not necessarily in like the theatrical content, but more in just like, for lack of a better term, the attitude of everything, like everything being a little bit meaner, more aggressive, more tense, more competitive. Yeah, exactly. A lot of money. I mean, that's kind of the thing too. Like when I remember seeing like Cesaro, he's not called Cesaro anymore. He's called Claudio, long last name. But they gave him the Ring of Honor title. He won it like at the last thing, and that's huge for him because ever since he was in WWE, everyone thought he should have been a guy to have belts, and they never pulled the trigger on him. And that's, I think that was a huge mistake. Very competitive match between these two groups.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, definitely. I hope AEW makes good on their Ring of Honor stuff, because I think if they have like, because right now everyone says the roster is big. I think their biggest problem is that they're just not giving their guys enough time to be showcased. Like, because really, if you think about it, they have one 2-hour show, one 1-hour show. They have 5 pay-per-views this year because of Forbidden Door. And AEW Dark, I guess. I don't know how that functions, but not to a point where it's really full support. And that's really it. Yeah, definitely hardcore. I definitely think that if they have the Ring of Honor show be like their NXT, but have it only be like an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half, maybe, and boost up Rampage to 2 hours and make it like a legit show. And I'm not saying they should do a brand split, but I think actually, you know what, I think a brand split wouldn't be such a bad idea. Or at the very least have certain belts in certain shows, because I think once they do all that, people will realize that their roster is actually quite reasonably sized. Oh, we got a tap out. It's just, you know, they're just not managing well because they're not giving enough time. Now, I'm not saying they should go like WWE and just be over crazy, like have 12 pay-per-views, have a bunch of mini pay-per-views, have like two 2-hour shows and have one 3-hour show that are on weekly. I think WWE is on the reverse side. I think they need to have less, a lot less. At the very least, cut Raw down to 2 hours, if they haven't already. Alright, next here, Beer Money versus the Dudley Boys here. Back to TNA stuff here. Mr. Fuji's proud, yeah, exactly. Alright, let's see how this one goes here. Should be an interesting one here. Ooh. But yeah, internet looking pretty good here. Like I said earlier, it looks like it will be streaming schedule should resume pretty successfully for the most part for the foreseeable future, which is great. I love that. I won't have any issues with that. I still want to get an Ethernet cable though, because right now it's looking good on wireless, but based on what happened like recently at the last place, I do want to like cover all my tracks. I won't know both these guys are in TNA. I'm a little curious on how often they fought each other. I assume often, because I think they were big around the same time-ish, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, 3D. Yeah, TNA, man, like I said earlier, I heard they're pretty good now. Ethernet is clutch, yeah, exactly. Like, what a difference that makes, really. It's kind of weird because despite the evolution of wireless, like, Ethernet is still used for consistency. It kind of says something that despite the advances we make with wireless internet, Ethernet's always going to be something that's going to have the leg up unless they come up with this new invention that changes internet forever in terms of quality. Because imagine they invent a thing where no matter where you go or where you're at, like, the internet that's there is streamable internet, no matter what. Like, you're always going to be around that. That'd be crazy to see. Another 3D. Neck breaker.
One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five.
Ah, weapon usage right there.
7, 8.
Oh, 3D on a concrete floor.
11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2. 10 minutes gone.
Ah, a little code breaker right there.
1, 2.
Definitely some surprising stuff, like that last one with some surprising matches here, like that triple threat match that ended with a knockout in 6 minutes. That's crazy. Of course, it would be from Aku, of course. Any devastating move hits will be a critical.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, a little perfect flex. Yeah, I mean, I assume the guy had it coming, probably, if he did that. From what I heard about him is that even though a lot of people think he's the toughest guy in, most dangerous, they also said that he was very fair and a pretty nice person, as long as you weren't an asshole. Yeah, definitely. tags there. I don't. Oh, Bubba Cutter.
One. Break. One, two.
Oh, that's cool. He's in NWA. That's cool. That's the thing. I always thought him and Devon. That it goes back to the tag team conversation earlier. Like despite them working awesome as a tag team, I feel like they could stand out as singles guys on their own as well. Especially Bubba. Devon, I feel like could, but I don't think he ever really got a solid chance to outside of the Reverend gimmick in the WWF.
One, two, three.
Oh, look at that. All right. Nice. I think this next match here, I think this is going to serve as the last match for the night. It's going to be another triple threat match. Yeah, I don't think it did bad. I think it came during a time where people were still wanting to see, the Dudley Boy tag team. I don't think people were quite ready for singles runs for the guys quite yet. I think they weren't ready for it. Yeah, he was certainly committed to it though, that's for sure. This is going to be between Inferno, Miller, and Wright. Some middle stuff action here, and we'll do this, of course, in the WCW side of things. See. Wait, I thought I had Ernest Miller. Is it Ernest Miller or Eli? Let me double check, cause, shoot, I don't have Ernest Miller. Shoot. Okay. Well, Star Fox requested it, so I'm sorry, Star Fox. I'll throw an Elix Skipper in there in this place. I'll have to remember to get Ernest Miller at some point. Alright, let's see how this one goes here.
Give up.
Disco Fever, exactly. Disco Fever. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, Disco Inferno. I remember hearing this. Hearing this from people saying that if he did that, did his gimmick and everything today, he would have been a lot more successful. And I agree. I felt like once again, like the NWO thing, just kind of that middle card really carried. And while I'm not saying like Disco Inferno would have been like main event guy necessarily, but I think he could have like been a lot higher up if given the chance to kind of show his stuff off a bit better. Alex Wright was great too. I loved Alex Wright definitely, especially as just a heel and stuff. I think he worked very well. I just think that they like, because Attitude Era, they promoted the lower mid card and treated it with equal like focus and importance as the main event, but WCW didn't, and that's what really undercutted them in the long run.
5 minutes gone.
Oh yeah, they did. Jericho could have been a big thing for them. Not only Jericho, but Guerrero. I mean, hell, when they had Raven and Raven's flocked, I mean, that was a huge thing too. And they barely did anything with Raven. I mean, they allowed him to do some stuff, of course, but imagine if his stable was allowed to be more higher up. Or the guys in it were allowed to be more high up, like Raven and Saturn and all that. Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially with the way, yeah, it's a shame too, because WCW was really like, yeah, in fairness to Ted Turner, the only reason, the biggest issue was they didn't really think about long-term effects. They just thought about, oh, this guy's available, sign him up, you know? And the thing is, Ted Turner just provided the money. Like, in terms of, like, actual say and stuff, there wasn't a ton he inputted outside of, like, you know, no blood or whatever. But it was really Bischoff and, like, you know, in WCW Co. are kind of to blame, because they didn't think ahead on like the consequences of the company, because they were so focused on there's a finisher there. Yeah, WCW had a lot of cool stuff. Like, I think really with both shows, but especially WCW, their arenas were always spectacular. Oh, Dragon Suplex. Oh, look at this! Disco Inferno getting the win. Alright. I think we're gonna call it good here. Went through a lot of requests, but definitely do for that. Next stream, Thursday, TWN West. No, East. TWN East. East 9. That'll be the next one for stream for that. And then we'll just go from there. The next YWA thing will probably be... Let me see here. The next YWA thing is going to be August 7th. So it's gonna be a minute for that. But yeah, guys, but I'll do some other streams in between the TWN stuff and maybe some like special tournament tribute tournaments or whatever, you know, just for fun. Kind of stretch it out a little bit between the next YWA event. But yeah, that's really gonna do it here for today. Thanks for watching, guys. In case you wanted to chat with anyone at the Campy Company, you don't want to use the YouTube comments section, we do have a couple options. First one is we have a Discord channel. You can find a link to that in the About page / About section of our channel. We also have a community tab in our channel as well. You can access that anywhere at any time. We also have a Patreon page. The main goal of the page is to raise money for the channel, to give the channel a bigger budget to do more ambitious things, and also to start making merchandise for the channel as well. And the merchandise itself will be geared towards aspects of the channel that you guys enjoy. So any support we get for that is much appreciated. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.